welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT. Totally not true. With Rabbi Stuart, the man Federow from the Big H, Houston, Texas. Welcome back. Don't smoke crack. Rabbi Stuart Federow, how are you? I know.
Not ever smoking crack.
I know. Hey, but hey, you still have to say it is great advice, though. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, there's no doubt about that.
Very good. It's good to see you. It's good. Hey,
lungs were not made to.
Well, you just did something that unplugged your microphone, I think. There it goes. I hear you. Very good. Very good. Awesome. Okay, so great topic for tonight. Man, I'm looking forward to...
Oh, you got to remember, I have a very strange way of doing things.
That's okay.
Yeah, you say that now.
Well, I know that you have a nice, interesting ability to think outside the box a lot, and sometimes having that perspective really helps to refine other thoughts that so many people are thinking about. You know what I mean?
I think they went back to the right side of the screen for the chat.
Okay, so it's all the same here.
Oh, no, I'm glad it's different on mine. I wanted to say that way.
You know, I need to put a post up on Facebook real fast because we were late, and I don't want people to think that we're not here, so I'm going to make sure they know.
We're late. We were right on time.
Were we? Oh, we were really? Oh, well, great, man.
It's now 7:02.
Oh, really? Oh, so we were on time then. That's okay. I'm going to put it up here anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to say live now.
Hi, Michael. Hi, AH. Hi, Andrea.
All right. Y'all would be very proud of me. You know why?
Why?
Because although I'm not practicing it in this moment, I literally just started practicing typing like not long ago. I'm happy. I finally know what letters. You know why I needed to do it though? I was like, I don't ever need to learn how to type. I'm a great pecker. You know, I peck with all the fingers. I'm pretty quick. But what I realize is that I oftentimes have caps lock on there, and I'll type an entire paragraph and look up, and then it's like it was all in caps. And for some reason, in all the brilliant inventions, no one has invented a way to reverse that. So I had to delete it, retype it over and over again, and I'm getting tired of that. So I figured, well, I need to be able to look at the screen while I type, and that will fix everything. So there you go. All right.
Good luck with that.
So here we go. Yeah, welcome everybody. Good to see Michael Arlen, H. Andrea, thank you for being such a long-term admin here on the YouTube channel and keeping things in order. Crystal Cheney, good to see you. Paul Brill, Jacqueline, Devin, Partitia, I like the way you spelled that, Patricia. Yasmin Coates, Josh. So moving on. So that's it, the Crucifixion Psalm. Is it even really a Crucifixion Psalm? And
bring it up?
That's where we're going. So give me a minute to pull up the other screen because, like I said, I'm actually
all right. While
packing.
You're doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit.
Do that. I want to put you on the screen, let you chit chat for a bit. Here we go.
All right. You need the text to look at this, but there's some things I think that I'd like to talk about before we even get there. Okay. First of all, why were the Psalms written? They were not written as prophecy. They were not written to foretell the future. They were not written about the future. They were not written to give hints about the future. They were not. Why were the Psalms written? Psalm 22, verse 1 begins, "To the chief musician upon Ayelet HaShachar," a psalm blank David. Okay, why does the psalm begin, "To the chief musician upon the rising of the morning"? Okay, what is the purpose and function of a psalm? Okay, simple, quick answer. It's a song to be sung in the temple. That's it. The end. All done. Okay, let's go. We're done.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, come on.
Right.
If the purpose of the psalm isn't to prophesy what's going to happen in the future, and it just so happens, pretend it does,
Okay.
It just so happens that the psalm sounds like a description of something that happens in the future. It doesn't make the psalm prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
A psalm is a psalm. A psalm is a song. Where is the song? To whom is the song to be sung? It's to be sung in the temple by the choir. To the chief musician means, hey, chief musician, I got a really good song I want you to sing. It's not saying that there is now some form of prophecy in the Psalms. So from the outset, trying to make the crucifixion of Jesus prophesied by a psalm, any psalm, or any part of the life of Jesus to be a fulfillment of a description found in a psalm is nonsense to begin with. Because the purpose and function of the psalm wasn't the future. It may express something that happened in the past, like King David feeling rejected because right now in his life everything's going sour. Okay? But that's not in David's future by 900 years. It's an event that's already happened about King David that was written for the purposes of being sung in the temple. So the whole basis of this whole idea of a psalm as prophecy is just stupid to begin with. Okay? And yeah, I'm sure you'll come up with a whole bunch of different examples of what about this? By and large, what I'm saying is true. And so at the initial look at any psalm, because it might seem to be reflecting what happened to Jesus, okay, is not the purpose and function of the psalm from the very outset. Okay? So.
Okay, you're up.
What?
I've got your Hebrew and English on screen.
Oh, I thought you said go to Europe.
Only if you take me
Europe.
with you.
All right, fine. Couldn't resist.
Okay.
Okay. Second thing we have to understand, take a look at the Hebrew, okay, the last two words of the first verse. Mizmor LeDavid. LeDavid. Le, the prefix le, can be to David, for David, or possessed by David. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it doesn't necessarily say that this was written by King David. This could have been written for David, Le David. It could have been written and then dedicated to King David. A psalm to David, dedicated to David. But that doesn't mean he wrote it. It means somebody else wrote it and dedicated it to David. And yes, the third meaning of the lamed as a prefix means possessed by David, the implication being, yes, he wrote it. But 2 out of 3 of the possibilities of the meaning of LeDavid, 2 out of 3, he did not write it. So keep that in mind for any psalm that has LeDavid Mizmor or Mizmor LeDavid, which would be in the first verse. Okay, let's go back to the English because this is just easier.
Okay, sure. There we go. Got about 8 seconds.
That's fine.
Cool.
Whatever it takes to get the job done.
Hey, there you go. There you go. I think there might be a way I can during in the low or no latency where I might be able to have this thing show up faster. I need to check on that next time.
Okay.
So, but you're up.
Okay. Verse number 2. My God, why have you forsaken me? You are far from my salvation and from the words of my moaning. Okay. Let's see. Rachok mishuati. Far from my salvation. Wait a minute. Is this about Jesus or is this not about Jesus? Make up your mind. This is what I would say to Christians. Okay? If it's about Jesus, then God forsaking him. Well, wait a minute. If Jesus is God, and this says, God, well, God, why have you forsaken me? God can forsake himself. That's a little schizophrenic for me. That's one thing. Second of all, if it says you, okay, this would be King David talking. You, or putting words in his mouth, Le David, we just talked about that. You are far from my salvation. Wait a minute. If Jesus is God, why does he need to be saved?
Right.
What is Jesus to be saved from? And if every single time you find the word Yeshua, that means Jesus. Okay, so Jesus is talking to God and says, you are far from me. Rechok is to be far from. Me is from. Yeshua is Jesus. Okay. Jesus is telling God, you are far from me, because salvation means Jesus. I'm just taking what they do and applying what they do elsewhere here. Okay? King David, start over. Whoever wrote this is thinking about King David and what he would be feeling when he was being pursued by King Saul. Okay? Not exactly finding a lot of support among the people. Okay? I mean, he got problems. So the author is putting words into David's mouth, writing as if he were David, and saying what David would feel in those circumstances that happened before this in King David's life. Okay? Verse 3, my God, I call out by day and you do not reply, and at night I do not keep silent. But you are holy, you await the praises of Israel. Our ancestors trusted in you, they trusted and you rescued them. They cried out to you and they escaped, they trusted in you and they were not shamed. But I am a worm and not a man, a reproach of man despised by peoples. Isn't it funny that Christians always take something they like in the Hebrew scriptures, and if they like it, oh, well, that's Jesus right there. That's Jesus talking. Okay. But they ignore things that they may not like. So, for example, and I know you're not going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. The verse reads, verse 7, but I am a worm and not a man. So here we have a place in the Psalms where the author says, I am not a man, I'm a worm. This, therefore, means that every single person on earth really isn't a man. They're not a human being. They're really worms. William, you're a worm. I'm a worm. Okay? Dylan, Larry, Roman, Yasmin, Michael, we're all worms. We're not men. We're not human beings. Because if it's in the Psalms, and it makes a statement about someone, then it must therefore automatically, no matter who wrote it, why they wrote it, who it was written about, and what they said is about every human being to ever walk the earth. Why am I saying that? Not necessarily because of the whole Jesus crucifixion psalm bit, but because there are passages in the Psalms that Christians will point to and say, that refers to everybody. So, for example, you're not going to like this. In the Psalm, it says, in my mother's womb, God knew me. Well, therefore, God knows every single person in the womb, and therefore, it's a statement against abortion. Yeah, I told you wouldn't like this. So, in the one place, because it says, God knew me in the womb, therefore, every human being is known in the womb, okay? And therefore, everybody was, first of all, if you're put in the womb by God, don't you think God would know who the woman is who possesses the womb and might know that she might move to an abortion? Right or wrong? It's not my issue. I'm not talking the right or wrong nature. What I'm saying is that, well, here it says, but I am a worm and not a man. Therefore, if one verse about one person in one psalm applies to every human being on earth, then this psalm, where it says, I am a worm and not a man, must also apply to every human being on earth. Christians have a tendency to pick and choose. So wait a minute, which brings me back to the real point we're dealing with. Okay, thank you, Dylan. I wouldn't want to be a worm all alone. I tried to worm out of that. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. Now I forgot. I was making a joke and I forgot my point. My point is that if this is supposed to be about Jesus, because it happens to have a couple of lines that vaguely sound something like the crucifixion, okay, then are they saying, well, right here it's not talking about Jesus, but this verse over here it is talking about Jesus. So Jesus is saying that Jesus is a worm? Or if this is supposed to apply 900 plus years in the future, okay, when Jesus would have been born, then it's saying that Jesus is a worm. The worms go in, the worms go out, whatever, okay. Sorry, these songs cut. Now you know where my kids get their
Don't apologize. This is part of what makes this show quite fun.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so the point is that the psalm is not prophecy. So let's talk about prophecy a little bit, okay? Not the way you think. Here's what's going on, okay? You have the crucifixion of Jesus. At the crucifixion of Jesus, the way it was written by the New Testament authors, Jesus is quoted as saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? And there's an enormous amount of problem with that verse. Only two of them that Matthew and Mark quote that verse. One clearly is quoting in Aramaic. The other is clearly quoting in Hebrew. And there are problems with that I don't want to get into now. Let me just say this real quick. If the words listed were Hebrew, it doesn't say, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because the Hebrew of Psalm 22 is right there. Lama azabtani, why have you forsaken me? Lama azabtani. It's Hebrew, that's what it means. But the New Testament, Matthew and Mark, disagree on what language was spoken, even though the words they are using are the same words. Mark, okay, and Matthew have a similar words to each other. Okay, thank you. Lama azabtani. Azav, to forsake. Lama, why? Lama, why? Azav, to forsake. Ta, you. Why did you forsake me? Me is where I'm the object. Why did you forsake me? Okay. It's Hebrew. It's right there.
Right.
But the text of the New Testament, Jesus supposedly said, Eli, Eli, lama zabtani. Forget it. Why do I do that? I open my mouth and it confuses people.
Sabachthani or something like that.
Okay. Yes. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Lama sabachthani. Matthew or Mark that says Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Eloi is Aramaic. Plenty of reason to believe that the whole statement is Aramaic.
Right.
And in fact, in Aramaic, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani does in fact mean, in Aramaic, the Hebrew of, my God, why have you forsaken me? But the other gospel writer doesn't say Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is Aramaic. He writes Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. He does not write Eli, Eli, lama azabtani. He writes Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is Hebrew, not azabtani, not Aramaic, and its meaning is, my God, why have you entrapped me? wait a minute. That's a totally different attitude towards what happened by being crucified than being forsaken or being entrapped. Okay? Sabach, Samach Bet Kaf. And I used to remember the Strong's number to help you look it up, but I can't remember it offhand. Okay, so Lama Sabachthani, if it's Eli Lama Sabachthani, it doesn't mean Lama Azabtani, the original Hebrew. It means, it's a different word, Sabach instead of Azab, and it means, why have you, no, I forgot, I just said it and I can't get it. Why have you entrapped me? Okay. So, plenty of problems with just that. So, let's go back to what I was saying. All right? Okay. Just because there are a few verses just because the way in which the crucifixion is described appears to match a few verses out of all the verses that make up the 22nd Psalm, which direction did it go? Was Jesus fulfilling the scripture? Or did they create, did they invent, did they make up the story of Jesus in the New Testament to match what was in Psalm 22?
Right.
Jesus isn't fulfilling this. They're making it up as they go along, and there's proof for them doing this, by the way. I'm not sure we want to get into that tonight.
Reverse engineering, basically.
I'm sorry, what?
Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering, thank you. So we can argue back and forth, it's really not that hard, about the real meaning of the words of Psalm 22 and how it really, they're lying about the translation to make it appear to be a fulfillment of Scripture as described in the New Testament Gospels. Okay? But we can't lose sight of the fact that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John did not know Jesus. They never met him. They weren't his disciples. At the beginning of Luke and at the end of John, Luke and John, whoever they were, explicitly admit we are going by stories because we weren't there.
Right.
Okay. Let's see.
Or they would say something like, this was done in order to fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah, and by the way, if I go out of my way to fulfill something, anybody could do that.
Right, absolutely.
Hey, I think I'm going to go get, Moshe's donkey rental, okay, that's outside of Jerusalem, and I'm going to rent 2 animals, and I'm going to enter into Jerusalem while riding on 2 animals. Well, wait a minute. I am Stuart Federow, and I am doing that in order to fulfill prophecy.
Right.
If I'm doing it that purposefully, okay, if I'm being that purposeful about what I am doing, is that really what is meant by prophecy? That I'm going to go out of my way to fulfill the Scripture, which, I could be a line of people. Each one wants to be a Messiah figure, even though that's not a mark of the Messiah, but that's that's not our topic for tonight. Right. And I'm going to go to Moshe's donkey rental and rent 2 donkeys so that I can fulfill the Scripture. And then the person behind me is going to rent 2 different animals and enter into Jerusalem the first time so that he or she can fulfill the prophecy. And then the person behind them is going to, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it gets ludicrous. Okay. So, that's what I was doing. Sorry.
To be fair, it would be like it would be the same as like now. It's 2021, and let's say I wrote a letter to my grandchildren, but I didn't date the letter, and I just said, or I just wrote a letter for a time capsule or something like that. And I said, in the year 1980, an actor, Ronald Reagan, will be elected president. And they could say, wow, this guy, I found this letter, and it was like, no, it had to have been from 1940 or something. Wow, it's not. But basing that on knowledge, on historical events. And like you said before, with the New Testament's confirmations of what they're saying, our confirmations are really just trying to prove something so they can validate the New Testament as prophecy as well.
Right. Okay. Luke, don't even go to this. I'm just going to read it. They can look at it for themselves.
Sure.
Luke chapter 1, verse 1. For as much as many others have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, believed, not witnessed.
Oh,
believed.
yeah, right.
Even as they delivered them to us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word, it seems good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto you in order, most excellent Theophilus, which means lover of God, that you may know the certainty of those things wherein you have been instructed. Okay? So he admits that they weren't eyewitnesses. But in the same way that they came to them from eyewitnesses, they are now going to send a letter describing what happened, and that letter became the Gospel of John. So Luke, at the very beginning, the first 4 verses, admits he never met Jesus. And then if you take a look at John chapter 21, at the very end, okay, John 21, verse 24. This is the disciple who testifies of these things and wrote these things, and we know his testimony is true. Well, why? Because they trust him, not because they were eyewitnesses.
Yep.
And there are also many other things which Jesus did, the which if they should be written, every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain all the books that should be written to show what Jesus did. So that's the very wordy piety statement, of deep faith and belief. He's done so much it would fill 100 libraries to describe what he did.
Right.
Okay. So again, John is quoting the disciple who testifies of all the things he's writing about, and they know that his testimony is true because they trust it, but they weren't there.
Right.
So, okay. So again, my point is that the crucifixion is described in the Christian's New Testament not by eyewitnesses, but by people who weren't there, who are taking blueprints and inventing the story of Jesus like a construction worker takes blueprints and builds a building based on the blueprints. But instead of building a building, they're building stories on the blueprints. And what are the blueprints? Verses in the Hebrew Scriptures. They did not know what happened. They weren't there. They lived well after Jesus was dead and buried. And when they make up the verses, they make them up in order to reflect what they already did have a copy of, which is the Hebrew Scriptures.
Wow.
Okay. So, back to Psalm 22. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, where'd it go? But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men and despised of the people. Okay. Let's see. They laugh at me in scorn. They shoot out the lip and shake the head, saying, he trusted on the Lord that he would deliver him. Wait. He, which is supposed to be Jesus in this psalm, trusted on the Lord, who's supposed to be Jesus, that he would deliver himself? That's what it says. L-O-R-D, most likely. Let me verify. Let me validate. Wait a minute. Did I just mess up there? Right. Okay. I'm sorry. 22. Let him commit himself into the 4-letter name for God. But 4-letter name for God, Christians say, is Jesus.
Right.
So let him, that's who this psalm is about, commit himself to himself. If it's Jesus that the him is, and Lord is also Jesus, then he's committing to himself. What kind of sense does that make? Okay, and we didn't even look at the whole thing about the like a lion, which is
Right.
just,
Right.
totally ridiculous, but never stops them. Okay. Let him commit himself to the Lord. Let him rescue him. Okay. But now it's capitalizing. You do know that Hebrew has no capital letters.
Right.
Let him deliver him, seeing he delighteth in him. Okay. So whoever this is talking about is supposed to commit himself to God, and then God is going to rescue him and deliver him, seeing he delights in him. So if this is still about Jesus on the cross, Jesus didn't get finished being crucified?
Right.
I mean, it's picking and choosing which verse applies to Jesus and which don't. Okay, how very, very convenient that they kind of like overlook this with all these verses. Okay, 22, 9 or 10, depending on which, how you're counting. For thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou made me trust when I was upon my mother's breast. Okay, so thou references God that took God out of his mother's womb. You know the old meme, okay? God brings us into the world knowing that we are sinners, then makes a human woman pregnant with himself so that he can become a sacrifice of himself
To a betrothed woman.
in order to forgive
Yes.
the people for the sins he brought him into the world with.
Right.
Okay, it's the same thing here. You are God who took me, who was God, out of the womb. Okay, all right. Upon you have I been cast from my birth. Thou art my God from my mother's womb. Again, it's making God the God of God. Okay, be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have encompassed me. Strong bulls of Bashan have beset me round. They open wide their mouth against me as a ravening and a roaring lion. So you now have the reference to a lion that comes before the verse they are going to say is not like a lion. Okay, I mean, come on, we've all seen this psalm. This is nothing new to all of us. But William knows I'm a weirdo and I have a weird take on all this, which we've been talking about.
I gotta tell you, so I was looking up that meme. I just saw one I've never seen before. It was like an old newspaper clipping, and it says, so they were betrothed. It says, shortly afterward, after Joseph and Mary were betrothed, Joseph is sitting on the edge of his bed, and he says, if God could create Adam, why didn't he just create his own son instead of knocking up my friggin' wife?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's... I mean, do these Christians ever really sit and think?
They don't use logic
about their theology.
And
do they really?
This is not just a knock up to them. This is also, because I was there too, and that was the fact you really have to check your brain at the door. And I don't mean disrespectfully. I just mean literally. You literally have to take everything they say on blind faith. Ironically enough, in the New Testament, Jesus never supported blind faith, even if he was real, whatever. He always associated faith more with faithfulness, which is kind of more the right topic, but also with someone who actually understands the concepts of things, not somebody who doesn't understand. But everybody says faith is believing in the things that the substance of things hoped for what's not unseen. Well, anyway, long story short, it's blind faith. Believe in it even though it doesn't make sense. Jesus never supported that theory, ever, in the New Testament. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that right now. So.
All right. I like that meme too, by the way.
Right.
Okay, so Psalm 22:13 or 14, they open wide their mouth against me as a ravening and roaring lion. So you already have the setup that the lion is there. Then 14 or 15, I am poured out like water and all my bones are out of joint. My heart has become like wax. It is melted in my inmost parts. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaves to my throat. And thou layest me in the dust of death. Tell me anytime where this description matches something in Jesus' life.
Right.
Again,
to be fair, they would say I was spilled like water. They say he was drained out. My bones were separated. Means they beat the crap out of them. That's what the whole thing. My heart was like wax melting within my innards in the heat of the day. I mean, there's all kinds of things that they can say. But the point is, I don't know.
I'm not sure for all of these. When did Jesus' tongue cleave to his throat?
Right. Well, they say he was dying of thirst. They say that's why they gave him the vinegar on the end of the rag.
Vinegar is really going to quench his thirst. Let me tell you.
I know. I'm not sure I understood it, but the point is that's where they would draw the connection. So, I
basically, what you're telling me is they can make up something.
Oh yeah, easily.
There's always something that can have its own little spin.
Right.
Okay, so.
Save my soul from the sword. They say they took a sword and punctured him in the side.
Yeah.
Right, and blood and water flowed. So I mean, they literally pull everything out of here. So, except for the part where it says, "Save me from the lions." Look, 22. Save me from the lion's mouth, which was the very first on verse 16. Right. Psalm 22.16 right here. Save me from the lion's mouth. That's so cool.
For dogs have encompassed me, a company of evildoers have enclosed me.
Yep, there it is. Verse 22, that's right. The Aryeh, same thing.
Yeah, here it is.
That's awesome. I thought I had it on screen. I apologize. Hang on.
Wait a minute.
I'll put it back on screen here.
Right. For dogs have encompassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. Let's take that translation. Can you bring up the translation, the mistranslation, that says pierced?
Oh, yeah. Here, 1 second. I'll put this right over here. Bear with me. I'm going to drag and drop. And I need to zoom in here. Let me see if I can make this bigger here. 1 second. Oh, no, control. Come on. Oh, really? It's not letting me zoom in? Let's do it this way. In every other app, this works. You can control and scroll, and it'll actually zoom in. I'm going to have to do it on my software. Hang on. So, and that is going to be, what verse is that? 22.16?
17 in the Hebrew and something or other in the English.
Okay, sure. 1 second.
In the Christian translation,
I got you. 1 second. Let me zoom in here. Let's put you over here, and there we go. All right. Give it 8 seconds.
Okay.
All right, it's coming up.
Here's my question. It's where to go? Okay. Here's my very simple question. Where to go? Thank you. Yep. Okay. Dogs surround me. A pack of villains encircles me. They pierce my hands and my feet. Question. Simple. Obvious. Does not need spin. It's in every translation, no matter who they say, if it means pierced or it means like a lion. Okay? Who is doing the piercing?
Right. You asking a question?
Yeah, that's my question.
I would say the military.
Yeah, but it's plural. They.
That's what I mean. They
in the verse, according to their translation.
Their translation. I was thinking in the actual in essence.
Either one. It does.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
I'll show you in the Hebrew.
I know. I'm just conflating things.
Where to go? The Hebrew is.
I was
Hikifuni
conflating
Ka'ari
things.
Yadiva Raglai.
Right. Ka'ari.
Hakifuni. Okay. Again, the ni on the end is I'm the object.
Okay.
Whatever it is they're doing is done to me.
Right.
Okay. But the hakifuni, is plural ending.
Right.
So whatever it is, whether it's like a lion in my hands and my feet, or if it is piercing.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
It's plural, and they all translate it as plural. Now tell me, according to New Testament whatever, how many people pierced Jesus's hands?
Right. I see what you mean. Right.
The guy with the sledgehammer.
Right.
Who hit the nail.
That's a good point. Whoa.
Well, he hit the nail on the head. Okay.
Well played. Wow.
Now, and who does the plural they?
Now, of course, they blame. The thing is, they blame the Jews. So they blame.
Of course they do.
So they as a Jews.
To do with the crucifixion scene.
Right.
They
Well,
blamed the Jews
technically it does
of
because
earlier what happened.
technically it does because they say the Jews is who turned him in. So metaphorically, they're the ones who did it. Without their testimony, that would not have happened, is what they're saying.
It's because they said his death be on our children, our head and our children's heads forever.
Right.
So that's where they accepted responsibility. What parent, Jew or non-Jew, what parent is ever going to say that my descendants should carry the weight of my sin forever and ever?
Right. Who would ever do that? That's like
who in their right mind would ever do that?
Wow, that's almost like
all right.
Oh wow.
But let's go back to this as stated by them in their Christian translation. Okay? Dogs surround me, a pack of villains encircles me, they pierce my hands and my feet.
Right.
Who is doing the piercing?
Right.
It's either dogs by biting their hands and feet, or it's villains encircling me. Where does it say Roman soldiers? Where does it say crucifixion, meaning nails?
Yeah, right.
They pierce my hands and my feet. So you got dogs surrounding me, villains encircling me. Oh, yep. But all of a sudden when it says they pierce my hands and feet, it means Roman soldiers 900 years later.
Right.
I mean, where is the brain in this?
It's in the same spot as Isaiah 700 years later.
Right, exactly.
Right, with Jesus.
Exactly. So it's not just this one little word, ka'ari. Okay, it's not just this one little verse. Okay, Psalm 22 has to be taken as a whole, and you have to understand that it's not prophecy, that the invention, creation out of nothing that became the New Testament Gospels based themselves on various verses that they could say, oh yeah, I can make that look like that this verse is what happened in Jesus' life.
Yep.
But it doesn't fit. And if you read what it actually says, like, who did the piercing? Was it dogs or villains? Oh no, it was Roman soldiers. Oh, well, Roman soldiers can be villains. Well, then why didn't it say soldiers?
Right.
Even if it doesn't say Roman, why didn't it say soldiers? Why did it say dogs? Woof! Okay, or villains. And wait a minute. Jesus was crucified with who else being crucified? Villains. They were robbers.
Right.
So in order to fulfill this, why didn't they make up that they forced the thieves to put the nails in his hand or something? That's what they would have had to have done.
Right.
So above and beyond ka'ari, okay, above and beyond pierced, okay, like a lion. I mean, the context, the wording, the grammar, none of it fits. None of it fits. It's all made up. And since they didn't know Jesus and they didn't have somebody else telling them what happened, they made it up, and they made it up based on the blueprints of the various verses in the Hebrew Scriptures. Mm-hmm. What was your TNT? Oh. Totally not true.
Yeah, totally not true. There you go.
But that's not just the New Testament.
That leaves it more to a global audience.
Yes, I think so.
We could do science. We could do life hacks. We could do debunking, whatever you want. Cable companies, who knows? All right, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what. There was a guy on here earlier tonight that I was hoping was stuck around, but I don't think he's watching anymore. I knew he was Christian from the day he came up. His name is Roman, and he's I would say he's the guy most known for all caps all the time, and he was actually doing the same thing tonight. He eventually.
You know something, William? You know what I found out? There are an awful lot of people who have to type in caps. Not because they're yelling, which is what it usually means.
Right.
But they can't see.
Yeah. Oh, right. Gotcha. Atabay, happy. It's good to see you too. It was awesome visiting with you on our show. By the way, for those of you who are here right now, and Rabbi, I think you may be aware of this, but every Thursday, I'm pretty sure it's every Thursday, there is a new Noahide show, and I was asked to be one of the speakers on the show. That happens every week, and you can just follow us on Facebook, and you'll see what that link is. I don't know it by memory yet. I'll eventually remember it, but me and Rod Reuben, David Bryant from Nativ.net are two of the speakers there, and we'll alternate with other people when we can't show up. So, but some amazing questions that come through there, and so many people ask me on a regular basis, where can we go for teachings, and that's really a good resource. It's an open format. You can, other people can get involved. You can have a video and your microphone involved, and it's really nice. It was really, really nice. So the next one is going to be this Thursday at 7 p.m. So if you guys want to tune in, follow my Facebook, and I'll certainly get you the right link for it. Or even with Atabay, she knows exactly how to get into that website. So anyway, fair enough for that. So.
Loud female voice in background drowning out what we were talking about? Sorry. I must tell you, I don't know who would have been here.
Actually, it was at the time. It was. I think your wife was actually real close by, and she was on the phone.
Really?
Yeah. I could actually hear.
I got these on, so I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah. I could hear it pretty good. It's not that loud. I think that might be a bit of an exaggeration.
Sorry, everybody. I apologize.
No, it was not that loud. I mean, it was noticeable, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was drowning you out. I could hear you fine. So, very good, man. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to call this an early night, Rabbi. I am beat. I've got to go. I got to go to North Dakota in 2 weeks, and to do for a week-long video shoot for Texas Bankers Association. They hired me to do some videos.
Cool, good for you. By the way, everybody, I know that in a year nobody's going to care, but right now I care. Please do two things. One, donate to Tanakh Talk. Okay. There's a $sign at the bottom of the chat on YouTube, and you can always go to TanakhTalk.com in order to donate. TanakhTalk.com/donate. I also want to point something out to you, and that is Tovia Singer is coming to Houston. Okay, he will be here in July. It'll be the 24th and the 25th. There's a small, not everybody, whatever, but 24th, a dinner at a kosher steak restaurant. Intimate question and answer, whatever you'd like to talk about. I'm sure when everybody's eating, people will go up to Tovia and just, say, hey, talk to them. Okay. I think there's like a 50 or 60 person maximum. So, the night of the afternoon of the 25th, like 5:30, is a meet and greet. So it's basically, again, not that many people. And then in the evening is a lecture. And all three of these events have a charge to them. They cost them money to come into Texas. It costs them money to come from Israel to Houston. So please come. Please come. Please come.
Absolutely. I will be there myself this Saturday.
I will too.
This Saturday and Sunday.
Matter of fact, I'm coming back early from California and Seattle, Washington.
Wonderful. Wonderful to hear. I'm looking forward to seeing you, Rabbi. Last time this happened, we were in the same car together for a while.
That's right.
We'll want to keep it that way if we can.
I hope so. Look.
Yes, sir.
Well, Sunday. Yeah. Toby's got to eat Sunday too, so maybe figure out a place to go.
That sounds fun. That sounds good.
All
right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon next week. Now, to be fair, actually, next week, Sunday, Monday is Shavuot, and right now it's still not sunset, so we probably won't have a show next week.
No, we can't have a show.
Right, so it'll be
Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday.
Yep. So there'll be the following. So in 2 weeks we'll have a show, but then we'll have another show off maybe, because of my new job is actually, since I'm not in construction anymore, I took a job to get me out of construction. My knees are hurting and everything, and it's not exactly the same money, but it's got insurance, and I'm happy about that. But point being, they're shipping me to Bismarck, North Dakota, the week of the 24th to the 28th, and I've got to leave 2 days early because we got our first time setup ever for this type of video production. Long story short, so there's going to be some hit and miss over the next month, and I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but sit tight because Tanakh Talk is certainly here to stay. I've just got to figure out the logistics of everything and make sure I can figure out how to schedule all. So anyway, you guys enjoy your time off. Guys, seriously, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. I'd like to really, really push the subscriber rate, and also turn on notifications if you want to get notified when things happen here. So when you do that, turn on notifications. You want to select the all option. There's 3 options. So anyway, just do that. And guys, please like this video, share it with your friends, do what you can to help. This also helps the search algorithms on YouTube, so it will show up more the more you guys interact with it. So that's all I got, Rabbi. Thank you all so much. And Rabbi, we'll see you and everybody else on the other side. Peace out, everybody, and we'll have a great week. Shavua Tov, everybody. Bye. Rabbi, finger dance. Come on. Let's do it. Gotta wait for that right rhythm. Here we go. Come with you. Where's the fingers at? Where's your fingers?
No, it's a whole body dance.
No, you have upgraded. Peace out, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Take care.
חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד